Erosion on the battery and battery plate as well. Be sure to get it all off.
Remember the goo inside the aliens in those movies? Battery acid is almost as bad, so try not to get any on you or your clothes. If you do, just neutralize the acid with your baking soda and water solution.
After the big scrub down, wash your battery with an all-purpose spray cleaner.
Finally, use an old towel to dry it off.
Jump-starting your car.
So you left your lights on overnight. By morning, your car's as dead as Julius Caesar, and you feel dumber than a bag full of hammers. Well, we've all done it. Does that mean the human race is doomed? No, but jump-starting your car improperly can make the situation even worse.
If there's one thing people do wrong when it comes to their cars, it's jump-starting them. Learn the correct and safe way to jump-start, and you'll be sitting pretty come dead battery time.
First off, jumper cables. These guys take the power from the strong battery and transfer some of it to the weak battery. High quality is the way to go.
All jumper cables are judged by their gauge, which is how much wire they contain. The more wires, the more current they can deliver. 10-gauge cables have the least amount of wire, whereas 4-gauge have the most. That's the kind the pros use. Stay away from 10-gauge cables and go for the 6 or 4-gauge kind. Also, try to get cables at least 16 feet long. The difference between the cheapies and the good ones is only about 15 bucks, and they can really save your bacon.
To jumpstart a car, pull the juiced car up to the dead car as close as possible, but make sure that they don't touch. There's a marked decrease in current flow if they do. Put the transmissions in park, then turn off the ignition, lights, and any other accessories. Raise the hood of each car, secure any loose clothing, and strap on those goggles.
You'll notice that your cables are color-coded. One's red and one's black. We'll make a connection to the good battery first.
Step 1. Put a clamp from the red cable onto the positive terminal of the good battery. Step 2. Clamp the other end of the red cable to the weak battery's positive terminal. Step 3. Connect the clamp from the black cable to the good battery's negative terminal.
You may think that the next step is to connect the black cable to the dead battery's negative terminal, but it's not. Sorry.
Step 4. Connect the end of the black cable to an unpainted metal surface or bolt head on the engine with the dead battery. If you attach this end to the negative terminal, you may cause the battery to spark and perhaps ignite the flammable gases given off by the battery. Don't forget this important step.
Step 5. Start the good battery car. Wait about 1 minute and then start the weak battery car. Before you know it, shazam! Your car is raised from the dead. Shazam! Step 6. Remove the black cable from the engine. Then, from the strong battery's negative terminal. Disconnect the red cable from the weak battery's positive terminal, then from the strong battery's positive terminal.
And that's the safe, easy way to jump-start a car. If you had any trouble, maybe you made one of the following errors.
Did you bypass name brand jumper cables for some disreputable product?
Are the cables attached securely? Are they attached securely to the battery terminals?
If you can't find the battery or you can't get to it, look for jumper blocks. These are big red plastic guys marked with a big plus sign or POS. So this is where you put the positive cable. If your car has jumper blocks, it's because the actual battery is tucked in tightly around the other machinery.
Is the good battery strong enough to charge your dead battery?
If this troubleshooting doesn't work, it may be time to buy a new battery. We rate batteries according to 2 measures: reserve capacity and cold cranking amps.
What in the name of WD-40 does all that mean?
Reserve capacity is how many minutes a battery can run a car without the alternator. Cold cranking amps is the minimum number of amps a battery needs to maintain a certain voltage for a particular period of time.
If you don't care about all that, then don't worry about it. Just buy a battery that's equal to or better than your old battery in these measures. You can find all this stuff out in car reference books.
Belts and hoses.
Don't forget the rubber products under your hood, like the radiator and heater hoses, along with the drive belts. Check these parts yearly and replace them every 4 years or 60,000 miles. Remember that although these parts can be expensive and that they may look good, they can't be trusted beyond this time or mileage. The problem results from the deterioration of the reinforcement materials used inside the belt or hose. This material breaks down over time and cannot be seen or tested. So, make the change.
Even though you can't see most of the deterioration that your belts undergo, you can still use your sense of sight to notice obvious problems. Every once in a while, inspect the hoses and the belts for cuts, glazing, cracking, and holes. Use your hearing to notice any odd squeaking noises.
It's crucial to change your timing belt when your owner's manual recommends. On many vehicles, a broken timing belt can lead to severe internal engine damage or even total engine destruction. As with drive belts, it's impossible to look at one and determine if it's good.
Choosing a mechanic.
At one time or another, we've probably all felt victimized by a mechanic who's taken advantage of our automobile ignorance. By now, though, you know more about your car and how it works than 90% of the people out there. This will help you immeasurably when you have to take your car in to be serviced.
When talking to a mechanic you don't know, have your hooey detector on. If it seems like he or she is just throwing you a lot of technical jargon just to confuse you, try another mechanic. Word of mouth can go a long way. Talk to your friends and coworkers and ask them who they trust.
One thing to find out about mechanics is if they're properly trained. Are they ASE certified?
ASE stands for Automotive Service Excellence. To become ASE certified, a technician must demonstrate proficiency on a battery of knowledge-based tests.
Any ASE certified technician will be glad to show you their certification and will probably be more than willing to discuss any problems you may be having with your car. Remember to be specific and describe things in terms of your senses.
The place where a mechanic works can tell you a lot too. Guys that work at quick lube places may only be able to do quick lubes and might not have any factory training. A technician at a dealership should have the highest level of product-specific training. That's great if you own a Volkswagen and you go to a Volkswagen dealership, but they probably won't be able to help you if you have a problem with your Ford. Also, some former dealership technicians open shops that specialize in the vehicle type that they were trained in. This way, you can take advantage of their knowledge without paying those sometimes exorbitant dealer prices.
When you find a competent and reasonably priced mechanic, stick with them. Once you find someone you can trust, you should give your car a good old-fashioned checkup.
Perhaps the most important part of driving a safe and reliable vehicle is a yearly whole-car diagnostic checkup. In general, your vehicle has in excess of 100 systems and thousands of parts. And this comprehensive test checks them all for about $50 to $75. This evaluation tells you what's bad now and what's nearing failure. By using the test results, you can budget your repairs and avoid most breakdowns.
Well, that's the whole Megillah. We hope you've learned some great things about your car and you enjoyed yourself along the way.